Welcome to the Unity of Olympia podcast.
So one day a first grade teacher was telling the story of Chicken Little to her classroom. And she read, and Chicken Little went up to the farmer and said, "The sky is falling." And then she turned to her classroom and said, "And what do you think the farmer said?" And one little girl, her arm went up. So the teacher says, "Yes, Mary, what do you think he said?" She says, "I think he said, 'Holy crap, a talking chicken.'" Let it go. I understand that the C word is not always considered to be profanity. Just saying. Today's topic is Go and Let God. That's the title for my talk. And it is all about release. As we move into the month of November, we move into gratitude and release. And for me, these two go together because switching any attitude that we have to one of gratitude is a step to moving towards releasing whatever stuff we got going on, whatever holy crap is going on. I'm going to use this affirmation throughout the day, and I hope that we use it enough here that you get to take it home with you. I release anything and everything that no longer serves my unfolding good. Good job. Okay. We'll do that some more. So you might be wondering, what did you do on your sabbatical, Terry?
What did you do on your sabbatical, Terry?
Thank you for asking, Diana. One of the things that I did is I enrolled in an 8-week course in learning skills to promote positive intelligence in my life. So many of you know that positive psychology and unity history sort of run along the same path. Now, the true study of positive psychology didn't start until psychologist Martin Seligman began his work, and I think that it was about introducing it to a particular group of psychologists, that it began in 1998 for real as a study. But positive psychology asks the question, instead of asking the question, what's wrong with this person's mental health and what can we do about it? It asks the question, what makes people healthy and happy, and how can we spread that? And unity, for a long time, we've been asking the question, how do we have an experience of heaven on earth here and now, versus the other religions, not all of them, but many other religions historically that say, how do I not go to hell and get to heaven instead when I'm dead? And if those are the things that you believe theologically, then that's a really important question. But it's not one of the teachings that we believe Jesus was teaching. We really do believe that he was teaching about life here and now. What to do to live our very best lives here and now. So positive psychology is really wonderful for me because you know what they do? They apply science. It's not just us spiritual woo-woo people saying, think positive and your life will be better. There's science behind it now. I'm really excited about that. So we use denials and affirmations in our role of releasing and affirming truth. So one of the things that we have come to believe over the last, I think 20 or 30 years in Unity, is that the term denial, we have lost the definition culturally, and we have had to shift to the power of release instead of the power of denial. Because the definition no longer means denying that something has power over me, an illness, a thought, a belief, which is the way that we've been using it historically, to I'm pretending it doesn't exist. And that's not supported by positive psychology, and it's not part of our practice. We're not pretending something doesn't exist. We're actually working with it to come to a new way of being. So the thing I really love about this class I'm taking, it's called PQ, Positive Intelligence Quotient, right? Like IQ or SQ, Spiritual Intelligence Quotient. EQ, you know that one? Emotional, you guys are brilliant. I love you. Okay, so this guy wrote this book. His name is Shirzad Chamine, and I said it fast, Shirzad Chamine. He wrote this book called Positive Intelligence. It's on the New York bestsellers list for many months. And then he created this program called PQ. And it's just, you use an app, and it's about gaining skills, a little bit of information every day, and then some practice every day. And so I've been doing these practices that are suggested, and I'm really enjoying them. One of the things that we found out with these practices I found out, is that fMRIs, or the education piece, fMRIs actually can tell the difference. It's a different part of the brain that is activated when you are ruminating or thinking negative thoughts or just spinning. Anybody ever spin? It's a whole lot less frequently now than it used to be, but it still happens, which is why I'm taking the class. Is in a different location than those thoughts that are calm and peaceful, physically in the brain. And so for me, it's like, okay, ego self, fearful self, Christ nature. Now, for those of you who are triggered by that, highest self. Or the language that they use in PQ, saboteur and sage. You like that? Sage. Yeah. And so we pay attention when something triggers us or shows up that we recognize isn't true, makes us feel something we don't like. And then we say consciously, I can shift into the sage. And we can do that because we've practiced. What do you think the practice is? Mindfulness. Excellent. So here's the other thing that science shows us. Mindfulness meditation, any meditation actually, or any practice that is completely focused. If you have a practice that is completely focused on something right here, right now, that helps to actually build the neural pathways to that side of the brain that we're calling the sage. You like that? 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes a day. So I'm going to share some of those practices with you. One of them, ready? Put two fingers together and rub them so lightly that you can feel the ridges on the other fingertip. You have to do it very lightly, and you have to pay close attention. And just do that for 10 seconds. Anybody feel the ridges? Yeah, it took me a while. You guys are brilliant. So that's one practice. Here's another practice. This is my favorite. Just rub your fingers down gently on the palms and give all of your attention to the feeling. You can close your eyes if you want. To the way that feels, those fingertips feel on the palm of your hand. Just a little practice. Look I see some people grinning. Yeah. So those are a couple of the short, easy practices, because one of the things that, I don't know, do you guys still get triggered and then go spinning off into not la-la land? Some of you? Okay, thank you. This is why I do this, right? This is why I'm in this whole gig. This is why I'm here today, is because I believe that there is such a level of emotional and spiritual health available to me and to you that we don't have to go triggered, spinning uncontrollably. And so I'm very hopeful that this particular practice that I'm working with may help me move into my sage more quickly. That may help me move out of ego and into that Christ nature that is the truth of who and what I am. Whatever language works for you, don't get caught up in the language, please. Because I do. I get triggered by weird stuff. You know, there's a couple of traveling monks. This is a Zen story. A couple of traveling monks are walking down the road, and they come across a litter. A princess is in this litter, waiting to be transported across the mud, but her attendants are holding all of her packages, and they don't have the ability, and she's mad. She's scowling and talking bad to them, and the younger monk just kept right on walking, but the older monk stopped. And he picked her up and carried her over the mud and put her on the dry spot. And she pushed him away when he'd set her down and just went about her business. And they continued to walk. The younger monk, he's like, that was so rude. So rude. And finally, he said, How come she did that? Doesn't that tick you off? That's what he said, tick. Doesn't that tick you off? That woman back there was very selfish and rude, but you picked her up on your back and you carried her, and then she didn't even thank you. And the older monk looked at him and said, I set that woman down hours ago. Why haven't you? This is the difference between long-term practice and a little practice. And so we don't, right? This is a monk, a younger monk who has not practiced as long. So we don't get upset with ourselves if we still continue to spin out occasionally. We just know that we're still in the practice, right? So we have to be able to recognize those regular beliefs before we can release them. This is all about releasing those ideas that no longer serve us. I release anything and everything that no longer serves my unfolding good. Together? I release anything and everything that no longer serves my unfolding good. So whenever I think that you're wrong, any of you, whenever I think that anybody in my family is wrong, that's my point to invite myself into a sage belief and invite in curiosity. That's what the sage does. Or love and compassion. That's what the sage does, right? My friend Dave said years ago, I used to think that I'd always think the way that I thought, but I don't think so anymore. Does anybody ever have that recognition around that, right? I used to think the way that I think was the way I'd always think, but now I don't think so. And it's true, and what a relief. It's like the sky is not falling. Oh, thank goodness. So, I release anything and everything that no longer serves my unfolding good. Together, I release anything and everything that no longer serves my unfolding good. There is a power and a presence that lives and moves and has its being in and around and through us. And that power and presence, whether you refer to it as energy or source or God, it is always available to us if we remember to ask. And that is the source that I believe that we activate when that part of the brain on the fMRI shows up. That is like the activation. I love science. So one of the things that I think probably has been activating a few of you while I've been gone is perhaps politics. Do you think? Yeah, I think so. I think that that it's a challenging time to let go of concerns and worries and fears. And I don't know every single one of you, and so I don't know how each and every one of you is voting or what you want, but I have a pretty good guess about who we are. And what I want to remind you is that even this, there is no way for us to know what the outcome is going to be today. And we probably won't know on Tuesday, and maybe we'll know on Wednesday, and maybe we won't. Hopefully we'll know by next week when we come back. If not, I'll have to come up with something else to talk about. Regardless of the outcome, God is present in all situations. There is no absence of good, because what we deem to be bad has shown up. You remember the story about the farmer whose son broke his leg riding the horse, and then the army came and said, we're conscripting all of the young men, but his son got to stay home, and over, that's good, that's bad, that's good, that's bad. But the real truth is that life is just happening. And I don't know, I have an idea, and my ego self knows what's good and what should be happening this week. But I might be wrong. It might be just that we're unfolding in such a way that we're living out this experience of birthing a new reality. And that birthing a new reality is messy. And the truth is that regardless of who wins the presidential election, it is going to be messy. We will be birthing a new reality. And so our work really is to be as grounded in our principles as we can be. Now, I have a note on here. Well, yeah, I got time. I have a note on here that says, I want to just make sure y'all know what our principles are. Ready for the test? Okay, here we go. Our first basic principle in unity is God is, that there is a power and a presence that is working for good. I like to think of that power and presence as an evolutionary energy. Evolution doesn't always work out really great for every single species over history, but it constantly moves towards greater intelligence and greater equanimity even, right? You could say that part of the problem of what's going on with us politically is that we've moved to greater equanimity. That's a problem for some people, right? That some of us have created this situation. I'm okay with that, because evolution, that force, that power that is moving in and through us that I call God, is present. And there is no power out there that is creating evil, that is purposely trying to get you. It just doesn't exist. It's in your mind, literally, on that side of the brain, according to the fMRI. Second one, I am the sage. I am the divine presence. I am an expression of the universe or of the evolutionary impulse toward good, toward a better world. I am that. You are that. Third, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. That's called the law of mind action. We recognize this, that it's no longer a woo-woo statement, that the way that we look at the world is often the way that we're going to experience the world. And that can even influence activities in the world. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to control all of them, because that's just a bridge too far for me, but it can influence the things that are happening around us. And it certainly creates our own response and experience. Prayer, meditation, affirmations, and release. Affirmations. I release anything and everything that no longer serves my unfolding good. Together, I release anything and everything that no longer serves my unfolding good. This is an affirmation and a denial sort of wrapped up together, right? Because it says there might be an experience in my mind of stuff that is against me, and I'm affirming only the truth. I'm releasing that, which might look like it's against my unfolding good. I release anything and everything that no longer serves my unfolding good. So these affirmations, releasing, letting go, prayer and meditation. And meditation, you know, I know that mindfulness meditation has become like a thing in the last, 25, 30 years? But when we take a look at the the five-step prayer process that Charles Fillmore promoted in the 1920s, you will see that it's relax the body, it's focus, get your mind on attention, give it something to have your attention on, and then give it that space to be in that receiving mode. And between the attention space, you know, actually focusing on something, and then purposely waiting for stuff to show up, that is mindfulness practice. That is it. So Unity has been teaching positive psychology skills for a long, long time, and I'm willing to learn them again from somebody else who's teaching it another way. 5. Action, yes, yes. Showing up at church is great. Good to have you here. Give your money too. That's action. And the bigger deal, the more important deal, is taking that time for yourself to engage with the mindfulness practice. Taking that time for yourself to shift your thinking. Taking that time, making this real. I release anything and everything that no longer serves my unfolding good. Together, I release anything and everything that no longer serves my unfolding good. Because the sky is not falling. That's the truth. The sky is not falling, but things might look different going forward.